Hey there, Wastelanders, and welcome back to War Games News Radio. I hope your bags are packed because we are headed to NUKA World. That's right, we have just seen all of the new reveals for Wave 9 for Fallout Wasteland Warfare, and there is a lot to talk about, from new factions, new models, and some big new rule changes that quite literally changed the game. Modifius Entertainment held their annual ModCon live stream this past Saturday, and we got a look at the 3 new raider gangs coming in this wave, as well as a ton of new robots and creatures, and even a set of plastic XO1 advanced power armor with tons of modular weapon options. But on top of all of these new models, this wave will also bring some fundamental rules changes to Wasteland Warfare that will have some big impacts on quick actions, aura abilities, and armor values. So grab yourself a Nuka-Cola and strap in, as we're going to break down all of the new reveals in this wave right now. It's been no secret that the NUKA World wave has a big focus on the 3 raider gangs that call the theme park home: the Operators, the Disciples, and my personal favorite, the Pack. Now, Modifius says the core boxes for each gang are molded in plastic and will have 10 unique sculpts with multiple weapon and kit bashing options, like plenty of extra ammo pouches and wasteland bits and bobs to customize your crew. These units will also be compatible and released for the upcoming Fallout Factions Skirmish game, which will be coming in the first half of next year. Now, we're going to be doing a separate video all about factions coming very, very soon, but for now, all you need to know is that it's a separate game system also developed by Modifius, and the core boxes for both the NUKA World Raiders and the Fallout Faction Raiders are one and the same and compatible for both games. But no need to panic, because Modifius says Fallout Wasteland Warfare isn't going anywhere. This is just a separate game system with a bit of a different mindset. But like I said, more on that to come, so stay tuned. On top of the standard Raider core boxes, each gang has a set of leaders pulled right from the Fallout 4 DLC. If you watch my NUKA World sneak peek video, then you've already seen Mason and his 2 pooches for the Pack, and during the live stream we got a better look at Nisha and Savoy for the Disciples, as well as Mags and William Black for the Operators. Unlike the core sets, these character boxes are cast in resin like the previous Fallout Wasteland Warfare waves. This is a trend we can expect to see going forward into future waves, with core units coming in modular plastic kits while characters are in the old school resin. And lastly, for the Raiders, we have the Park Overlords box set, which comes with 3 named characters: Gage, Coulter, and Shank. This box is awesome. Just look at Coulter's Overboss power armor. It's a thing of beauty. And Gage is low-key one of my favorite companions in Fallout 4, and his sculpt is just wicked. Hats off to the Modifius sculpting team once again on this wave, because they did an amazing job to give each of these raider gangs a vibe that's all their own, and I cannot wait to see how they play on the tabletop. But as mentioned, it's not just raiders that got some serious reinforcements in this wave, as there's new robots, creatures, a box of survivors, and probably the most exciting and surprising units out of this entire wave, a box of XO1 power armor. Just like the T-45 kits that came out in the Capital Wasteland wave, this is a modular plastic kit with enough parts to make 3 separate suits for any of your Wasteland Warfare factions. And look at all the weapon options on this thing. We've got 2 different rippers, a heavy flamer, laser rifles, pistols, combat rifle, even a fire axe, just a kit basher's dream. What's really cool is all the arms will be able to fit on each of the 3 bodies, so this is easily the most customizable power armor kit we've seen yet. You all know I love my power armor, and I'm such a big fan of plastic when it comes to kit bashing, so this is just music to my ears. It's also something that Enclave players have asked for a long time, and will be a hugely popular set for anyone who loves big chunky super soldiers in big chunky armor. As for survivors, there's not a ton to write home about in this wave, but they do come through with 1 box of oddballs in this NUKA World wave with the Park Personalities box. This set comes with 3 named characters: Oswald the Outrageous, Sierra Petrovita, and Cito. And for me, the standout here is going to be Oswald. The Modifius team says that the Ghoul Magician will have some fun radiation burst rules that I imagine will pair well with some other ghouls, so very interested to see what possibilities this box brings to the table. Next are the robots and creatures coming in this wave, which are a little surprising but very exciting, including a brand new sentry bot and a whole slew of NUKA Lurks. First up for the robots are the Mr. Frothy and Nukatron units. These variations of the Mr. Handy and Protectron can be found in the Starlight Interstellar Drive-In box, and looks like will come with 2 Nukatrons and 1 Mr. Frothy. We heard during the live stream that there are 2 different stat cards for the Mr. Frothy with different weapon options, so I'm curious to see what these robots will be working with. But by far the coolest automatron in this wave is the new Space Sentry Bot. This thing looks amazing and will come with multiple weapon and head options, so you can give him the classic Sentry Bot head or the cool Galactic Zone domed version, which I think looks so cool. And the mortar launcher on his back has now been added as an optional weapon item, giving your big bots even more firepower. No word on whether this new unit will have any special tweaks over the older version's stat card, so we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Next up is a very surprising addition to the robots crew, because we finally have the release of a standalone box of iBots. Previously, you could only find these little guys in the Paladin Dance or the Eddie, Rex, and Veronica boxes, but this has got to be one of the most requested kits since the game first launched. But it's better late than never, as this kit will come with parts to make 4 separate iBots, and I see this as being one very popular for either the Brotherhood of Steel or Enclave crowd. One last robot coming in NUKA World is the promo wave for this mini, Nira, a modified Protectron that operates as a park guide. We got a look at Nira in our sneak peek video, and this model is actually on sale right now. Nira was actually released during the ModCon stream, which officially kicks off the NUKA World wave, so you can go ahead and pick one of these up right now should your heart desire. Moving on to creatures, we got to look at some awesome additions to the Mirelurk range and a brand new big baddie with the Gator Claw. For you fellow lovers of the creepy crustaceans, we got NUKA Lurks, and these are some brand new Mirelurk sculpts that you can use as either the standard old-fashioned Mirelurk, or use the new NUKA Lurk sub-faction rules to give them some cola-infused buffs. Modifia says that these new sub-faction rules will apply to your entire NUKA Lurk force, not just the tiny creepy crabs themselves, and so that will apply to the Hunter and even the Big Bagged Queen, as well as the just-announced NUKA World Mirelurk King. This was another one that caught me by surprise, and I absolutely love the look of this creature. No hints as to its stats or rules, but I'm guessing it will have some sort of sonic attack like it does in the game, which I think could be interesting, as the Mirelurks lack any sort of real ranged attacks aside from the Hunter's acid spit, which can be unreliable at best. And lastly but not least, what would a new wave of Wasteland Warfare be without a new Deathclaw variant? And NUKA World does not disappoint with the terrifying Gator Claw. An unholy mix of chameleon and alligator, they look just deadly and are sure to cause a commotion on the tabletop. I can also see these being a popular buy in the Fallout 2D20 crowd, as Louisiana tends to be a very popular setting for a ton of RPG campaigns that I see out there in the community, and hey, what overseer doesn't want to see their players go up against a giant mutated alligator? Now, on top of all of these amazing new models, we also got a tease at a handful of rule changes that will be coming to the game when the NUKA World book drops, and some of these are a much bigger deal than others. On the housekeeping side of things, there's going to be some changes to how aura buffs work, as well as some clarifications on quick actions. When the game first launched, there were only a handful of different types of quick actions in the core rulebook, which were represented on unit cards by these symbols. But as the game's evolved over the years, some additional and more granular quick actions have snuck their way in, but these have never actually been fully addressed or explained in an official errata, which has caused some confusion among players. Now, the NUKA World book is going to address these by adding these quick symbols officially into the game. We're also going to see aura buffs split into 2 different categories, buffs and debuffs. This is a simple one, and I think a pretty smart move, as it should clear up any confusion about whether your friendly units or hostile units are impacted by any specific aura ability. But lastly is a massive change to armor values that starts in this wave and will carry forward through future waves and could have a big impact on previous units released for the game. As of NUKA World and going forward, all humanoid type units, so raiders, survivors, humans that walk upright on 2 legs, will have their armor values set at 0 for physical, energy, and radiation resistance across the board. Where your armor values will then come from will be whatever armor you're wearing. So that means all of your NUKA World raiders will need to gear up in some sort of protective gear before heading out into the Wasteland. Now there's a few things to note about this change. One is that it's not going to apply to robots and creatures, with a couple notable exceptions, I imagine. These units will all still have set armor values like they currently do because, well, they can't really squeeze into a set of power armor. 2, this will also apply to super mutants with a little bit of a tweak in that their physical and energy resistance will also be set to 0 going forward, but their radiation immunity will stay in place because they're mutated monstrosities. And 3, we could easily see a complete armor and points overhaul of nearly every unit in the game released in previous waves. The entire idea behind this change is to balance out the armor values across the game, as well as make armor items more, well, useful, as well as much less of an afterthought. Because these new units will have to pay for armor to protect themselves in the Wasteland, their caps cost is going to be adjusted to balance this out. And if this takes off in future waves, then it only makes sense that we're going to see this applied backwards compatible, if you will, to previous waves. How long that will take or when we could see it start to happen are two very good questions that I don't have good answers for, but rest assured, we will let you know what we know when we know it. We'll have to wait and see how these new changes play out in the NUKA World wave, but honestly, I'm a fan. I think this is a good step towards leveling the state of play across all of the different factions, as well as making your equipment choices just that much more important when building your force lists. On top of all the new rule changes, you can expect the NUKA World rulebook to include all of the cards for every unit in this wave, along with a NUKA World themed campaign of scenarios and a batch of Vault Tech approved unit loadouts and army lists to help you get your games set up faster so you can start rolling some dice. Well, there you have it, Wastelanders, an absolute jackpot of new models, as well as some big changes to Wasteland Warfare coming to a NUKA World wave near you. Let me know what you think about these new models and rule changes in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you're most excited for and how you think this will impact the game. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss our next video. And if you really like what we do here on the channel, then follow the link in the description to our Patreon, or click the little join button here on YouTube so you can become a sponsor and help us make more videos more often for you to enjoy. You get all kinds of kickbacks like double entry into future giveaways, early access to videos, and even become a named character in a future battle report or live stream. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned because, as always, WGNR will be back.